Right, welcome back Saxo fans. Hopefully you enjoyed the flocking episode, and that's exactly where I'm going to pick up today. So as I mentioned at the end of that last, get my words out, the end of that, still can't do it. At the end of the last episode, I showed that I wasn't particularly happy with the top of the dash. Lots of areas which I'm really pleased with that I'm not going to touch, and some areas which I am going to try and redo. So what I've done in preparation is obviously I've never tried to redo something that's flocked before, and obviously you can't just plaster a load of more adhesive over the top and then flock it again. So what I did is I did my practice piece. I just did a little patch on here just to do it again, and what I did was I took it back with some sandpaper, got most of the old flock off and reapplied. That came out well. I wasn't particularly happy with how much I could take off. It still left the surface a little bit sort of furry, if you like. So what I just did, I had a bit of a brainwave, is I wonder how aggressive a wire wheel would be. And you can see actually really good. So what I'm going to do is wire wheel the areas on the dash that I'm not happy with, and there's only a couple, and then reapply. So the other reason I think that the coverage is not particularly great on the top of the dash is you have to put the negative lead connected to the glue, and there's obviously only so far that electrical field will travel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up a little bit of an electrical field behind. It does tell you to do that in the instructions for things that aren't what's the word I'm looking for, that don't pass current. Can't remember the word. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, I'm going to rub those down with the wire wheel. Now, when I say wire wheel, I've got my softest wire wheel here, and I'm not going to run it particularly fast or aggressive. It's literally just going to touch the surface, so it shouldn't damage the dash in any way. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Obviously, after that, we're going to do the roll cage. Finally got it back. Happy days from the powder cases. I picked it up when it was still warm, straight out of the oven. So I'll get that in the car. I can't bolt it down yet because I need to buy some new fixings. The ones that were in the old cage, albeit they were the right size, they were just bolts that somebody had literally just cut to length. They're all rusty, just nasty. So I'm going to buy a load of new fixings, but obviously I want to put it in and just sort of measure how long they need to be and all that kind of stuff. So I can get the rear part of it in place anyway. And then on top of that, we'll have a look at running the fuel lines through the car, putting the battery cable properly into the car, and some of the other cabling down the side of the sill that all needs to be tidied up. All within the aim of putting the dash back in and getting all the other bits that I showed you already back on. So yeah, let's not hesitate any further, and what I'll do is show you a little time lapse of me doing the dash, because it's the same stuff that you saw in the flocking video before. You know, that was a 25-minute video of me flocking, so you don't want to watch me do it again. Anyway, so yeah, let's do some of that, shall we? Right, dashboard is in. Intentionally didn't show that process because getting everything to line up, getting all the air vents, all the pipe work and everything back in is a frustrating process. Yeah, that involved a few words that I probably shouldn't put in YouTube videos. Anyway, it's all in, it's solid, it's ready to go. So the next process now is to put in all the other associated bits that came with it. So I'm going to do that now. The next bit after that will be in the centre console here, where the stereo used to be. The window switches were there. They're traditionally down on the centre console in the Saxo, so they're up on the dash here. What I want to do is run a battery cut-off switch, just for emergencies, you never know, up on the dash. So I'll need to shorten that cable. So I'm not going to put the centre console in for now until I've sorted the battery cable. Also, not going to put the glove box casing that goes on the inside in. I'm probably going to run some sort of gauges there. I want it to look nice and simple on the inside, you know, clutter free. So it'd be nice to have the gauges hidden behind the glove box door. I don't have many things that I need to carry in the car, so I don't really need a glove box. So I'm just going to put some gauges there, potentially AFR meter, that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'll put the door on, but I'll leave it at that. So for now, let's get on with putting all the associated parts back on the dash. So hopefully sort of finish this section off. Let's go for it. There we go then, that's all the dash parts in for now. I'm going to leave the steering wheel off just because of ease of access. This I've just popped in place, it's not bolted down, just to keep it out of the way until I do the battery cable. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how that looks. So on to the next thing. Okay, right, whoever told you that life wasn't exciting doing project cars is wrong, because yeah, we're down to nuts and bolts. So these are the roll cage bolts. Now these ones are actually the right size. I looked at buying some new ones to get what I need for the roll cage, just to be bolted to the floor, which is about 24 bolts I think, and nuts. It would be about 50 quid. And I thought, oh, that's quite a bit of cash just for some nuts and bolts. Bear in mind, these are Ep14, I think, nice cap heads. So what I've done is I just had a quick go at cleaning one up. That came up all right. That's just been on the wire wheel, nothing more. And these have been in the blaster. So what I'm going to do with these is zinc coat these, or zinc plate them rather. And obviously they did all look like this, pretty nasty. So to save me spending 50 quid on nuts and bolts, when actually there's nothing wrong with the originals, I'm going to work through those. So yeah, I'm going to get those done, and we will now jump to the refreshed ones.
A few moments later.
There we go then, how exciting. That is numerous nuts and bolts and washers, all cleaned, bead blasted, wire wheeled and zinc plated. Really happy with those, they all come out really well. Interestingly, some of the zinc plating is really nice and bright, and some of it comes out dark. But there you go, it is what it is. They're all protected, they're all plated nicely. Happy with that. Still got a bunch of them to do if I'm going to use all of these, but we'll see. So the next thing is to go and put the rear half of the cage in, and then excuse me, and then obviously these are going to be used to bolt it down to the floor. So let's go and put the cage in, shall we? Right, next little job that I've been waiting to do for some time is to get the fuel filler cap and the fuel filler neck back in. And the reason I couldn't do that before was because of where the roll cage bolts. The bolts actually sit behind this pipe. So what I've done is I've left all the roll cage bolts loose for now because I want to get it all in and then tighten it all up together. Apart from this one, I've tightened right down, so I can now get the filler cap in. So yeah, obviously I replaced the fuel filler cap before with a nice black one rather than the metal one. So hopefully should look all right. Let's get it in. Okay, that's all in. I did try and film this, but it's almost impossible to film, which is my head in the arch. So you'll have to take my word for it, but that's all sorted. There's no contact there between those bolts and that pipe. So really pleased with that. Brand new Jubilees all round. Looking really good. Pleased with that. Right, so if you actually join me post bank holiday weekend, took a bit of a break from the car and enjoyed the weather we finally had. Anyway, back to it now. So, first job is to turn my attention to the front of the roll cage. Now the dash stuff is back in, I can effectively put the front bars in. However, can't actually do that because when I sent it the powder coating, I obviously masked up the ends, so I need to take off the masking tape from the ends here, but I neglected to mask the inside. So in some parts, I've got powder coat on the inside, so I need to take all that off. Now I was going to do that a week or so ago, but my Dremel lock pin had rounded off, so I couldn't undo the attachment in my Dremel, so I had to order one of those. Anyway, so first thing to do now then is take off all the powder coat from the inside of the cage, which will stop it going in smoothly. So let's get on with that, shall we? There we go then. Roll cage all back in. Let's say I haven't put any bolts in the front bit yet, and these are all still loose because I wanted to get it all in. Obviously with the trouble I had getting it out, really wanted to make sure I could get it all in properly. But I think it looks really good. I've got some carbon wrap to put around the door bars to protect them getting scratched, make them look a bit bling. But I'm really pleased with how the cages come out. Happy with the colour. It's really similar to the colour underneath. So yeah, pleased with that. I've also done the steering wheel. So this was the original wheel that came with the car, but it just needed a blooming good clean. So I ordered a proper suede cleaning kit and went to town on it, and it's come out quite well. So I'm quite pleased with how that is. So I'm going to keep that wheel. Put the shifter in, put the handbrake in. It's all looking good. Okay, so I think we'll call it a day there. I think we had good progress this time. We got all of the roll cage in, albeit it still needs tightening down. But I need to zinc plate some more nuts and bolts yet, so that's my job for the next few days. We got the dash in, which looks good. I'm happy with that, albeit the centre console needs a few little things. So yeah, I'm pleased with progress on the interior. It's looking exactly how I sort of imagined it and pictured it in the future. Yeah, that's about it, I suppose. So next video is going to be focusing on, well, still a few things on the interior wise to sort out. So a few little jobs there I'll touch on. I've ordered a seat as well, albeit not a pair, because I want to sit in one first, and I thought it'd be better just to order the one. I can easily send one back. So I'll go through that as well. And then what I want to do as well is get the rear windows in so I can seal the interior of the car effectively. I want it all buttoned up and closed off so I can start stripping the front end a little bit more. So that's what I'm working towards, which is why I've really focused on some of the sort of finishing touches on the inside, which you probably wouldn't do to the end. But I really want to just close the doors, seal them off, and that's it, and touch it, you know, when I've got to do wiring at some point later on. So yeah. Anyway, so we'll leave it there for this week. Thanks for watching as always. I do appreciate your support. We'll see you again next time.